So, you want to make a CCTV camcorder. Well, here we are for me to explain it all to you. We are going to start off by disassembling my original build to give most of you the best example of how these things work. This camera here is my first rig. This is the one I've tested on multiple times with many different cameras, with many different displays, and eventually getting as far as to adding a microphone to it. It's got a voltage meter on the side to read the battery and a mini DVR to record both the audio and the video. It is my favorite by far because it's the only one that works so far. So next I'm going to disassemble this entire camera rig and go step by step on how I created it, how I got to certain conclusions on how to set certain things up, and by the end of it, I will put it all back together, and by the end of it, I will start a new rig project together. All right, here we go. I want to start off by explaining that the microphone is powered on its own by a battery, along with the mini DVR is rechargeable. So it's not connected to the 12-volt battery whatsoever. You just got to recharge this and replace the battery in the microphone, and they work on their own. They're powered by themselves. The voltmeter on the side, and the camera itself, and the display, which is a backup camera for a car, is all powered by the battery. So what I'm going to do next is start taking these apart and stretching out the wires to show you an exact diagram of what's going on here. Now, a lot of people have asked what type of camera handle this is. Honestly, I don't know. I found it in a thrift store, and it's pretty vintage. And this part unscrews and folds up, and this part screws in, so it's nice and portable. You can put it in your bag or whatever. I mean, I really like it. I don't know what it is. I just go as far as calling it an L grip for a camera. If you find one of these, let me know, because I don't know where else to get them. This is my first security camera that I collected and started tinkering with in order to make a CCTV camcorder. It's built by Arm Electrics. This camera runs off of DC 12 volt or 24 volt AC. This one gets power just by screwing in a negative and a positive wire. Some other ones require you to push down on a button that clamps down on the wires once you insert them. Sometimes you'll find one that already has a DC input, and all you got to do is plug it in. Odd ones, like a dome or bubble camera, I like to call them, they'll already have a DC input and a BNC connector. Another example is this one I found, the same DC connector and a BNC, along with a night vision camera. Same thing, DC input, BNC connector. I got this cute little one. It's got an AV input, which is lucky, so I don't have to find a BNC to RCA adapter since it's already a RCA. Okay, so when it comes to building a CCTV camcorder, everything starts with a proper power supply. This is a 12 volt, 3600 milliamp battery pack. I got this off of Amazon, fairly cheap, about like 26 bucks maybe. It's got a recharging port and a DC output connector. So how to know if you have a camera that will work for this sort of project? Honestly, it's a 50-50 chance. I prefer you find a camera that says 12 volt DC, but this one says AC 24 volt. That's fine. It can still run off of a 12 volt current if you test it. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. So here's what I've come to know about the problem with finding a security camera that says 12 volt DC or 24 volt AC, all right? So most security cameras, if you find one, will run off of a 12 volt DC current. The reason it says 24 AC is for its original intended purpose for being installed as a security camera. So imagine this. You set up a security camera in a corner of a building, right? And it's going to take a very long cord from that camera to wherever it's plugged into, right? That cord, the camera itself runs off of a 12 volt DC current. But the reason that it asks for 24 AC current is because that length of wire that it's connected to for, its original intended purpose. Long wires strung through the roof or the rafters and into wherever it's plugged into, right? So let's say the camera is here and wherever it's plugged into is almost 100 feet over here, right? So that the power needed to turn on the camera is 12 volts. So it's sending a 12 volt current through that long wire. Well, along the way, that charge dissipates. It doesn't have the full amount of 12 volts the longer distance it travels. So even though where it's plugged in is sending out 12 volts, along the way, as static electricity works, it dissipates through the wire and arrives at the camera with not enough voltage. It arrives with like 10 volts, and it's going, where's the rest of my power? So in order to compensate for the loss of energy of distance it travels to get to the camera, they require it to have double the power, a 24 AC input. So it requires a 24 AC volt current to travel through the wire, because by the time it gets to the actual camera, it'll have lost half of that voltage just traveling, and actually arrives with only 12 volts of current in order to activate the camera. That's as far as I understand about it. The main point is that we're not stringing this up for its intended purpose of being a security camera in an office building or whatever. We're taking this camera and going this short distance to it in order to power it. So I wouldn't ever worry, or I wouldn't be worried about finding a 24 voltage battery, because that's going to be the size of a car battery. You don't want to be carrying around a car battery, all right? You're not going to find a battery pack this small that has an output of 12 volts. It's going to be huge. It's going to be heavy. It's better just to stick with 12 volts of DC current, all right? My advice is that you get a wall wart that says 12 volts on it, and you take that camera and you plug it in to test it to see if it will work off of 12 volts. If it doesn't work off of 12 volts, then it is specifically intended for 24 AC, and it won't work. So you'll have to find a different camera, or just use it as a normal security camera. Hook it up, I don't know. Next thing you're gonna need is one of these little doohickeys. This is called a BNC to RCA connector. This is technically called a BNC output. This is BNC video. All right, there's cords for it. If you find a cord, that's great. All right, but I prefer just to stick to this little BNC to RCA adapter, because this is what the little AV video cord is going to plug into. So basically, all this does is it slides on, and you twist it, and it clips onto that little peg there. And you can take it off whenever you want, put it on a different camera, I don't care. Now, to a lot of you, this looks real familiar. This is what you would have plugged into your old CRT box TV, your old VCR, or even maybe a plug and play game or a GameCube. I don't know. But, these are very familiar. This is what I call an AV cord. This is an analog video cord. This is what I call it. I know it's called RCA, but I just call it an AV cord. So if you get confused by me calling this an AV all the time, just understand that means analog video. And it's a very simple cord. Yellow is video, red is right audio, and white is left audio. So this is more for the stereo, and this is the actual picture. Now, what I prefer you do is go to any thrift store where they got bunches of these in a box or hanging on the wall, all right? They're like 99 cents. They're real cheap, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking this and you're going to be ripping this apart. Well, this one's got a little block on it, but you're basically going to strip this off, and you're going to make your own wire. And where you go? Okay. So once you get that stripped off, you're going to be left with just the video cord. And then what you're going to do next is, because obviously this is a very long wire, so what you're going to do is you're going to splice it, make it shorter, put some electrical tape on it, and then you got a little tiny AV video cable. So here we're going to plug this little BNC to RCA connector back on, and that's what the AV cable slides into. This is what it plugs into. This is video once it's powered. this is video coming out of the BNC to RCA into the AV cord and then into this little doohickey here. So now that we understand that the video from the camera is being output through the BNC to RCA adapter and into this custom-made AV cord we have put together, it is then going to be input into the female AV adapter to a 3.5 millimeter audio jack or aux jack. I don't know what the term is, but this right here is an RCA to 3.5 millimeter adapter. And the reason I use this specifically is because the right and the left audio I'm going to use in order to plug a microphone into. So here, if we just take the AV, plug it into corresponding colors. This one's a little bit orange, but yellow to yellow. And then what happens is this part, this is what sends the video signal and audio signal into the mini DVR. This mini DVR I bought off of Amazon for about, I think 30 bucks it goes for. Comes with a charger to recharge the battery, so you don't have to worry about connecting this to the 12-volt battery pack. That's mainly just for the camera itself, the display, and the voltmeter. The only reason I got the voltmeter was to read the battery pack because there's no way of knowing how much charge you have left, and you'll just constantly be worried about recharging it right before every time you go to use it. So I got the voltmeter to tell me how much charge is left on it. The mini DVR, it's just got a little SD card you slide in and it'll record up to whatever size the SD card is how much time and footage and space you can fill it up with. But all you're worried about is getting the video into the camera. Take a second. So with the mini DVR does record audio and video, and all of that is being transferred through the RCA adapter. If you're thinking about adding a microphone to your CCTV camcorder, you're going to need one of these little adapters. I believe this is a male RCA to female audio jack, and as I explained earlier, this just fits into the other corresponding colors on the adapter that goes into the mini DVR. And once you have the audio adapter connected, all you do is get whatever microphone you have that has an audio jack and just plug it in. And at that point, we now have video from the camera and audio from the microphone going into this adapter and into the mini DVR for it to record. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we want just video going out of the mini DVR and to the display so we can actually see what we're filming at the same time as we're recording. I'm going to slap the voltmeter back onto this so it's not flopping around everywhere. So unplugging this for a second, just keep in mind that all of this is sending audio and video into the mini DVR for it to record. While doing so, it can also output the same sound and video that it's inputting, but we're just going to worry about outputting the video only. So a way we can do that is by once again finding another one of these AV cables and then splicing it to another 3.5 millimeter jack. You can find all these wires at thrift stores, garage sales, I don't know. You just find them lying around. I mean, it's basically really old tech at this point. There's not a lot of people are scavenging them for copper or anything. But if you can find another AV cable to splice and cut up and wire it and duct tape it into being a 3.5 millimeter jack, what you can then do is that the jack will be plugged into the AV out, and the video coming out of the mini DVR will plug into the backup camera, which is our display. Now this backup camera, this is the power input. It requires 12 volt DC, but it only needs a very small amperage. So it doesn't really draw enough power for it to be a problem for the camera itself to run properly. So what we do is, once again, yellow to yellow. So now video coming out of the mini DVR will be output to the display here, and and at that point will be our functioning CCTV camcorder. So what I'm going to do real quick here is I can't really take the display off. I have it glued to the top of the camera. That was my fault. I should have done Velcro like the rest of it. But basically what I did was I took this wire and I just wrapped it around a bunch because I didn't want to splice it like the rest of them. But basically wrap this around enough to where it's just kind of sitting right there. You'll take the power, take the power DC and plug it in so that the display has power and can turn on. And then this will be the display output for the video once you plug it in. And then once you turn it on, it should display out the video only, but record the video and audio coming into the mini DVR. So putting all this back together, I basically just wrap this around a bunch because, you know, the wires are always the biggest problem, you know, keeping them out of the way, keeping them clean and tidy. So this is the audio going out and into the display, and this is the audio and video going into this adapter from the microphone and the camera itself. I just wrap around here, plug into there, and if I had my camera handle, this would be sitting on top of it, and then the battery, as you've seen before, battery just kind of velcros to the bottom there. And then personally on this one, I did not add a switch. I forgot about it. I didn't get that far. So basically every time I turn this on, I just plug this in and unplug it in order to power it. I mean, I can add a switch here eventually. I'm not going to because I don't want to. But depending on how you wire this up, you can add a switch. You can tell the red light is on, so the camera currently has power to it. You got to turn on the mini DVR, and there we go. We have a display of the video coming out of it, and the video and audio going into it to be recorded. As I've explained, the mini DVR is rechargeable. The microphone just runs off of a battery of its own, and the voltmeter, the camera, and the display all run off the 12-volt battery. That's the best way I can explain this build, and I'm going to put it back together and just leave it alone for now. And I'm going to give you a better in-depth tutorial by starting a new project with a different camera. So just to give you a couple different examples of cameras. I got a lot of them. All right, I got so many different cameras that it's crazy. So models and sizes and different versions of cameras. I prefer the boxy type of cameras. From my understanding, they're the easiest to wire and set up. Some of them already have the DC input, so you don't have to screw in the wires or anything. This one's by Sanyo. This one's a Techno Video. This one's by Samsung. Got a CCD camera. This is only black and white. I got a couple Panasonics. Here's the model number if you're really wanting to know what kind of model these cameras are. As I've shown before, I've got a dome camera, a bubble camera I like to call it. I've gotten them all from thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales. Sometimes you can just ask people who are renovating old buildings if they have any old security cameras left over. Sometimes they'll just give them to you, honestly. One of the things I always like to do is to test to see if a camera actually works. From wherever you get your camera from, it's always good to test to see if it works on the right voltage and if the lens actually works. Because sometimes they'll unscrew this little lens here to take it for, you know, whatever purpose they want, and they'll touch this lens. You never want to touch that. Don't even think about touching that. That will ruin the camera. And you got to get a very special kit to clean it and fix it, and it's really annoying. So a fun thing I like to do is when I'm not always building a new camera rig, I like to test them out to see if they work. So this is an easy one because it's already got the DC input. So all I got to do is plug it in here and then grab a little BNC to RCA connector, grab our handy dandy little AV wire here, slap it into the side, and if we come over to here with it plugged in and the video cable connected, and I got this little TV here, it's got the video on the front. We just plug it right in. Boop. That's not right. That's not good at all. Wait a minute. I think I see the problem. Here we go. Oh, this guy's not happy. All right. So just by taking a little DC input and AV cord and connecting it to an old TV that has the AV input on the front, we can test this camera pretty easily. All we got to do is unplug this, unplug that, and take the B and C RCA connector with us, and we'll grab a different camera. This one's already got it on there. Lucky us. Plug that in, plug this into the power, and voila! We have another working CCTV camcorder. This one I'm working on next to be another version of a camera rig. It's smaller, its color is more vibrant in terms of video quality when I record. Another one we can test out is this night shot camera. It's got all these infrared LEDs on them that help see better at night. So if we take this, plug it in for power, plug it in for video, and there we go. Once this gets dark enough, the night shot will activate and it'll pretty much be black and white. I can't really give a good example of the night shot working because it's not dark enough in here for it to work. Sometimes if I cover it, you can see the infrareds turn on, and when it gets too bright again, they'll just turn off. Here we have another example, a security camera I found. I want to take this part off and use its stubby lens for something. I don't know. I feel like this could be an interesting one. And then here we have the bubble camera. Hello there. I'm still figuring out how to invert the image so that I don't have to hang it upside down anymore. I mean, I guess I could get a camera handle, hold it from underneath itself, and get a cool POV, but I really just want to reverse the image, invert it, so that I can have it sitting like this, upright. Got a couple of these big Panasonic boys. They got 2 video outputs. This one here says Genlock. I don't exactly know what that means, but you won't use it. You'll just use the video output. So, starting fresh, we're going to be making a new camera rig CCTV camcorder using this digital color Sanyo. I've tested it before. It's got a better color and picture than my original design. It's got the same feature where if it's too dark in a room, it'll flip over to night vision mode, which doesn't really do it justice because it just makes it black and white in order to capture as much light in the room as possible in order to see. I've already wired this one up, this one being negative and the black being negative and red being positive. The wires just clamp in there by pushing down on this button. You feed the wire in, you let go of the button and it clamps down on it, and it's connected to one of these DC inset connectors, as I call it. It's got the little indications of positive and negative, and you just screw them in as well. And what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be taking this off because I have a different battery compared to my last one. The only thing different with this one is that it is bigger. It has a higher amperage of 52,000 milliamps. My last one was only 3,600 milliamps, but they both output 12 volt DC, 9 to 12 volt DC on this one. And the other difference is that it still has the charging port for the battery itself, but it doesn't have a DC connector. It's got one of these wire clamps. And this is fine. This makes it easier, I guess, in order to wire things in. But once again, I'm not really worried about connecting a switch to it. I forgot that at home, damn it. Or no, I left it in the box over here. Good news, I did remember to bring the switch that I was going to connect to this build. So I was worried about that for a minute. I thought I left it at home. But basically what's going to happen here is we're going to connect this in between this to that because, you know, it's quite annoying having to unplug and plug in the battery all the time. So I'm going to unscrew this because we're not going to be using it for this build. Whoop. Okay, good. Essentially what you can do is positive to positive, negative to negative, and this camera would power on. So we're going to be wiring in this little flip switch here to a camera from the battery in order to make it easier than, you know, having to unwire the camera every time you're done with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to unscrew these and get them ready so that I can get this positive wire out. Shove the positive wire kind of like right underneath that little screw, clamp it down as best I can. Ouch, there we go. Got that clamped down as best as I can. Move this negative wire out of the way, move it down a little bit. All right, we're gonna take this positive, wrap it around the switch here. Oops, there we go. And then I'm just gonna take this negative wire and touch it back to the other negative wire that we have for battery. So if we just slide this in as far as we can, clamp it down, and then the moment of truth. If we flip this switch here to the on position, here we go. Got a little red light. Got a little red light here, tells us it works and it's on and it's powered. See, even though it says 24 volt, it does work on a 12 volt current. What we're gonna do here is gonna aim it over here at the little DVD player. And what I got here is an AV cord to a 3.5 millimeter jack cord. It came with the DVD player. So this is kind of a specific thing just for the DVD player, but I bet if you plugged it into any other display as well, it would also work. So plug it into here for the adapter. I'll swap this over to an AV input. Hold on a second. Here we go. We got a working camera that is displaying out to a DVD player. Now, obviously, this isn't a CCTV camcorder. What you would normally do, as I explained before, is do an AV output to a mini DVR, something that will record video and audio, and then a video output from the DVR to a display, such as the DVD player. Now, I think if we take this switch again, flip it back to off, turns off the camera, working perfectly. Turn it back on, we got picture again. Then with the manual lens on the front, we can zoom in, zoom out. I like to zoom out as far as I can, and then just kind of focus the video as much as possible. That looks pretty good. Here we go. The DVD player. It's kind of blurry, but yeah, this is a great way of testing it. This is a great way of, just leaving it as is. I mean, heck, you could hide this in a bag and, shove the camera up your sleeve and get secret footage on somebody. I don't know, but, very simple, very easy to do. I'd say this is a very basic start to a CCTV camcorder, and later on you can add the voltmeter to read the voltage of the battery, get a display to glue on top like I did with the mini backup camera, add a switch to make it easier to turn on and off. So eventually what you would end up doing is figuring out a way to, Velcro this to the bottom, figure out a good placement for the power switch, maybe like right up here or something, just a way to wrap the wires around so they're not dangling everywhere in the way. You can come up with your own ways of dealing with that, but so far this is a good start. I will say another side hobby of mine is I love old UHF portable TVs, and I got all these old TVs down here, and I've been wanting to make a TV wall out of them for like art projects and stuff. I think they're really cool and interesting. I mean, heck, trying to get a broadcast on this is a very, exhilarating feeling, very satisfying trying to get one of these working again. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know. I'll do more videos on this kind of stuff. Boombox, I don't know. I'm also a very big fan of physical media itself. I mess around with digitizing old camcorders also, which is a trend I know about. I don't really go too in depth with them. I just like making them work again. And I love listening to old cassette tapes. I feel like physical media is something that we are all going to be wanting very soon, just based on the events going on in the world. It's nice to own something that is yours, if you know what I mean. So aside from getting this camcorder to work, it will be done eventually. I don't know when. Once I get all the parts ready for it, it'll be completed. But so aside from this camcorder that I'm working on to be my second build, I am extremely excited to turn this night shot camera into a build of some sort. I've straightened out the handle so I can grip onto it better, so I can, hold it, point it in certain directions. I will be 3D printing something to go onto here so I don't have to hold it just by the hilt of it anymore. But it's got like 3 rows of infrared LEDs. So this is like perfect for ghost hunting and seeing in the dark, I just realized I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning of this video. My name is Troy. I am the guy on the internet who is currently making, security cameras out of camcorders, and I had not realized that this very specific hyperfixation would be so interesting to such a niche community. A lot of you out there have asked so many good questions and have inspired me to continue doing this. I'm so glad that I've gotten to this point now where I feel there's a strong enough community for me to take this head on and be more aggressive with it. You know, I had my doubts before. I mean, like, it's an extremely small community, and then it kind of blew up into something that seemed, you know, unimaginable. What I'm trying to say is thank you all for helping me get to 1,000 followers on Instagram and launching this YouTube channel to give more in-depth videos and explanations on the things that I do with these security cameras. I don't know what else to say. I'm so thankful for all of you who have been asking questions and sharing your guys' ideas. I'm extremely happy to help each and every one of you. Thank you all for encouraging me to come this far in a community that I thought, you know, was fairly small to begin with. I feel like I'm at the forefront of this community at the moment. I know there's other people out there with, you know, maybe better designs and, you know, different ideas when it comes to these security camcorders. But I hope that, you know, I hope that I can continue doing this if enough people are interested. But yeah, once again, thank you all. Thank everybody. I feel like this is going to be the only video for a while. I will post some urban exploration footage using the security camcorders because I know a lot of you are interested in that. People who have messaged me with great questions and asking for guidance on their builds. I'm more than happy to answer every question that you guys comment on. I think at this point, I'll probably make a Discord for everyone in this community to come together and trade each other's knowledge and you know, pictures of each other's builds, and you know, something we can all work on together. I think would be quite interesting. Or I don't know, would that be something you guys are interested in? Let me know. I have many ideas for each and every single one of these cameras. I want to turn all of this into something where I can start selling them to you guys because I know you guys are very interested in them. I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the amazing encouragement and the rise of this very niche community. I'm just blown away by it every time I look at my Instagram, every time I get a comment that says I inspired somebody. So feel free to reach out to me. Thank you all once again. I hope this was instructional enough to get you guys to a better point in your builds, and I will continue posting more videos. Thank you all. I'm glad I'm here, and stay tuned for more.